What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Pokemon Go video. Today we are looking at the best budget Ultra League Pokemon for Pokemon Go. Now before we get into the Pokemon themselves, let us quickly define what budget means in Pokemon Go terms. Basically it means how available the candy has been to get, so how accessible it is to get the candies for the Pokemon, which in turn means how easy it is to power them up, and how cheap and affordable it is to get them the second move, for example, because you do want to have 3 moves on all these Pokemon, the quick move and both charge moves. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the list. First of all, we have Swampert, who is an absolute beast in Ultra League, and the moveset that you are going to want to have on Swampert is Mudshot, Hydro Cannon, and Earthquake. Now, you are going to want to have Hydro Cannon on this. That is a Community Day exclusive move. Swampert obviously has had the Community Day, so most people will have plenty of candies to power this guy up. If you don't have a Community Day move exclusive Swampert, then Surf will do as a replacement for Hydro Cannon, but just remember that will not be anywhere near as good. Hydro Cannon and all the Community Day moves, in fact, are really strong in PvP. Next up, another water type, we have Lapras. And for Lapras to be the best in PvP, you are going to want to have another legacy moveset. You're going to want to have Ice Shard, Ice Beam, and Surf. Now, Lapras obviously is going to do really well against Giratina, who is one of the powerhouses of Ultra League, being the Lapras having Ice Shard and Ice Beam, super effective against the Giratina Dragon. Next, we have probably one of my favorite Pokemon on this list that we're going to be going through today, Alolan Muck. We have Snarl, Dark Pulse, and the third move can be Gunk Shot or Sludge Wave. They have the same damage per energy. Gunk Shot is a little bit more expensive, but does a little bit more damage. You can choose either. It depends whether you want to have the more damaging Gunk Shot or the cheaper Sludge Wave. Very comparable moves, either will do. Next on the list, we have Snorlax. Now, Snorlax has been around since Gen 1, so hopefully by this point you will have yourself a bunch of Snorlax candies and a bunch of different Snorlaxes from across the different events that it's had. The moveset you're going to want is Lick, Body Slam, and Earthquake. Body Slam is pretty important for Snorlax to be any good in PvP. It's very cheap, really easy to bait shields, and Earthquake gives it access to moves that damage steel types, like Registeel, who is also a powerhouse in Ultra League. Otherwise steel types would wall Snorlax if it just had Lick and Body Slam. Next, we have Clefable. Clefable is really strong in Ultra League, able to take out Giratina in any situation pretty much. You're definitely going to want to have Charm as the fast move, and then Meteor Mash and Psychic as the charge moves. You'll pretty much just want this for the Charm, though. You're barely going to get any charge moves off because Charm is just so strong. I did want to put in a side note here. There is a different option. You could also have Wigglytuff here. Wigglytuff isn't quite as strong as Clefable. The max CP for Wigglytuff is only 1900, so you don't even hit the cap for Ultra League. But you can use Wigglytuff if you really don't have a Clefable. Again, you're going to want Charm as the fast move and then Play Rough and Ice Beam as the charge moves. Clefable is definitely stronger, but if you don't have access to a Clefable, Wigglytuff will also suffice. Next, we have another Gen 1 Pokemon. We have Venusaur with Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, and Sludge Bomb. Again, this is the Community Day move, Frenzy Plant. Like I said before, the Community Day moves are really strong. So Vine Whip obviously is great energy gain. You could have Razor Leaf there as well, but Vine Whip is preferable because the Frenzy Plant damage per energy is insane. And Sludge Bomb as the last move for a little bit of coverage, and again it's stab. Next Pokemon, it's another grass type starter. We have Meganium with the Vine Whip Frenzy Plant combo, the same as Venusaur, but we have Earthquake on Meganium. That is because, again, Registeel is so prevalent in Ultra League, and Earthquake is super effective against Registeel. Venusaur does kind of get walled by the Registeel there because it doesn't have any good moves against it. So if you're struggling with Registeels, maybe replace your Venusaur with Meganium. Next Pokemon is Fire-type Gen 1 starter Charizard. And you're going to want to have Fire Spin, Blast Burn, and Dragon Claw on this Pokemon. You really do need the Community Day move on Charizard to really have it do anything even remotely good in PvP. Fire Spin, great energy gains, Blast Burn, incredible damage per energy, and Dragon Claw for that little bit of coverage and the super effective hit on Giratina once again. A lot of these Pokemon you may have noticed are how good are they versus Giratina and Registeel, because those two Pokemon are incredibly prevalent in Ultra League. Next, we have another massive counter to Giratina. We have Togekiss. Charm, Flamethrower, and the third move is Flex, really. You can have Ancient Power or Aerial Ace. The recent rejig has made Aerial Ace a little bit better than Ancient Power, but it just depends on what your team really needs. So Togekiss, again, it's a Charmer, and you're going to want to just spam that fast move off. Again, it can win against Giratina in any situation, so it's a really strong Pokemon to have. Just remember with Togekiss to get the second charge move when it's a baby as a Togepi to save yourself on some candies and some Stardust. Alright, and the final Pokemon on our list is going to be a Pokemon that everyone should have an army of by now if you've been playing for long enough. We have Machamp. With Counter, Cross Chop, and Rock Slide. Machamp is an actual beast in Ultra League. Underrated, I would say. Really, really good against Registeel. Not so great against Giratina, which is probably why it doesn't get as much play. But takes out Registeel really easily, does crazy damage with Counter, Cross Chop, Rock Slide for those random Charizards that you might come up against, or any other flying types. And yeah, that is the list. I haven't put them in any particular order, because it is very difficult to say which is the best, because each Pokemon is going to have pluses and minuses depending on who is going to be with them on their team. Like Swampert and Blastoise, both really good Pokemon. Blastoise didn't quite make the list, but if you put them on the same team together, their pluses reduce drastically if they're together. You kind of have diminishing returns with types. You want to have a nice mixture of type coverage on your teams. But yeah, if you're struggling to get the Giratinas, the Registeels, the Armored Mewtwo's, which are great in Ultra League, any of these Pokemon on the list, you could probably throw a mix of types of any of these Pokemon and you'll do reasonably well in Ultra League. So that was the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more Pokemon Go stuff, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below with the kind of stuff you'd like to see. Until next time, guys, see you around.